More information came out today about Jinzhi's weapon and it's looking absolutely cracked. Can the other broad blades of the game keep up? Let's take a look. So keep in mind this comparison is if you want Jinzhi to perform to her absolute best. Of course you can use all the other weapons available in the game to clear everything in the game, but in this video I will try to do a comparison on which weapon Jinzhi can have the most value on. So here we have Jinzhi's weapon details that have been revealed by Wuthering Waves themselves on Twitter. The main stat being crit rate. Now at rank 1, this weapon grants 12% attribute damage bonus. Using your intro skill gives you an extra 24% resonant skill damage bonus. And using your skill gives an additional 24% damage bonus for an uptime of 12 seconds. A very strong weapon, perfectly made for Jinzhi, giving 2 instances of 24% damage bonus and a permanent 12%. Now, before this reveal, we were at the assumption that the 24% damage bonus were stackable, that it wasn't a resonant skill damage bonus, it was just a flat 24% damage bonus overall. So we used to think that Jinzhi would be able to gather 48% damage bonus from this weapon, but turns out the 12-second uptime is only a 24% damage bonus, which is still very, very strong. And if you're quick enough with your rotation, you'll be able to get all the damage bonus from this weapon and get 48% damage bonus on your resonance skill, which is absolutely insane. Now let's compare this to Jin Yan's signature weapon, Verdant Summit. This weapon also has a 12% damage bonus, which I'm pretty sure every limited weapon will come out with a 12% attribute damage bonus. But now for the good stuff, on GN weapon, we have the effects that are every time you do an intro ultimate is cast, you increase heavy attack damage bonus by 24%. Unfortunately, Jinzhi's main source of damage is from her skill and basic attacks, so she has really no use for heavy attacks damage, so this weapon falls considerably short comparing this to her signature. So I would not recommend using this weapon on Jinzhi, but the high crit damage on this weapon is really nice and could still work very well as a substitute if you do not want to use the other 4-star options. Alright, what about the standard 5-star Lustrous Razor? Well, this weapon has a attack percent main stat, which isn't as good as a crit rate main stat or crit damage main stat. Usually, for your main DPS, you do want crit damage or crit rate, but the energy regen effect isn't too bad, it's pretty good. You do want to ult a lot with Jinzhi. And now using her skill, you increase the ult damage, which again, Jinzhi's main damage comes from basic attack combo and her skill. And if any of you wondering what her skill does, I'm sure we all seen that animation. It's like the big hyper beam dragon move, really sick. It hits like a truck, and I'm sure her ult is gonna hit really hard, but this is a very specific condition compared to her signature weapon, where on her signature you can basically get a free 24% damage bonus uptime and an extra 24% damage bonus on her skill. So it's really not comparable, but it is still a usable option on her, so you don't have to worry about that. If you do not want to pull the weapon, you can still use this and pretty much pop off with Jinzhi, I'm sure. Alright, next up, Autumn Trace. This is the Battle Pass weapon. Being a 4-star already is in a disadvantage, but luckily this weapon has a crit rate main stat, which is very good, and some attack percent stacking whenever you use a basic or heavy attack, which is surprisingly quite good for Jinzhi. But compared to her signature weapon, this damage still falls a lot short by a large margin. Attack percent compared to damage, straight raw damage is like a huge difference. And on top of that, it's a 4-star weapon, and 4-star weapon have lower base stats, which does make a huge difference in terms of damage. but it is still a good option. So again, if you do not have any of the 5 stars and that's the only weapon that you have at the moment, I would still recommend it. Alright, the last mention for this video would be the Helios Cleaver, another 4-star weapon. And for this weapon, it's not too bad. It provides a 12% attack boost once every 12 seconds when you cast a skill. Nothing crazy, but still a decent option if you have absolutely nothing else for Jinzhi. I'm sure you'll still be fine with this weapon and will be able to cook with her. But if you want to do the absolutely most insane amount of damage with Jinzhi, then of course I would recommend pulling on her signature weapon. She's gonna be a monster with that. Guys, looking over the other weapons of the game that Jinzhi can use, her weapon is clearly in a tier of its own when it comes to Jinzhi. That is the verdict, that her weapon is the best, and it's really not close. All the other Beyblades are not quite on its level in terms of raw damage, so if you really want to maximize your Jinzhi, I'd recommend pulling for it. But that is to say, if you aren't too worried about having the maximum amount of damage on your Jinzhi, you can easily make up the lack of her weapon with a good build, and by using the other weapons in the game. You'll still be able to clear everything, no problem, so no worries about that. But yeah guys, this concludes the comparison video. Let me know if any of you are going to pull on the weapon or not. Good luck to those of you who are. Thank you for watching the video, and I'll see you all in the next one.
The Magistrate of Jinzhi. My role holds great power and duty. I vow to serve my people with diligence and bring prosperity to our land.